Alrighty, to start things off, we're going to open up with talking about the aperture. Now, what is the aperture? Well, the aperture, think about it as a small circle or a large circle. It's located inside the lens. And this circle size is what's going to allow the light to hit the sensor and expose the image. So let's say, for example, your circle or your aperture is wide open inside your lens. It's going to be more light and it's going to allow you to take a brighter picture. Now let's say you close down that aperture and make it small. You're going to get it, you guessed it, less light. So how does this whole thing play around and what does it mean and what does it look like? Well, the apertures are usually measured in f-stops. So you'll see sometimes when you look online, f2.8, f3.5, f8. That's the aperture. They're just talking about the aperture of the camera or the lens. And so when you see a smaller number, and this is where a lot of people get confused, so please pay attention here. When you see a smaller number, that means a wider aperture. If you see a larger number, that means a smaller aperture. And by larger aperture, I mean more light, and by smaller aperture, I mean less light. So let's go into a little bit more detail. So with an f2.8, it's going to be wide open, it's going to be very large aperture, and it's going to allow more light in. If you have an f11 and f16, it's going to be a smaller aperture and it's going to allow less light in. So what I'm going to do in order to help you understand this concept is we're going to go outside later on in this training and we're going to shoot and I'm going to show you detail how the aperture is going to work with your photography. But let's go on and move on to ISO.